Look, I'll be honest, we're swamped. The World Cup hype is real and Goal90 Shop is officially at capacity. If you ordered this week, please bear with us for a 2-week processing delay. It's a good problem to have, but we are working around the clock to get your gear out. Thank you for your massive support.
Football clubs gamble every summer, but the bill arrives in February when injuries hit, pressure spikes, and the table stops forgiving you. Today we're counting down 7 bold decisions from last summer and January that looked smart on paper, until reality turned them into self-inflicted problems. Let's get into it. Number 7. Liverpool selling Luis Diaz. On July 30th, Bayern Munich announced a 4-year deal for Luis Diaz. The fee was reported around €75 million. After 148 appearances, 41 goals and 23 assists, Diaz was gone. Liverpool's logic seemed bulletproof. They'd already secured Cody Gakpo on a new long-term contract. They'd made Florian Wirtz their marquee summer signing. The spreadsheet said the left side would be covered, maybe even upgraded. But spreadsheets don't account for chemistry. They don't capture what Diaz provided, a direct transition-ready winger who stretched defences and turned chaos into end product. His final Liverpool season saw 13 goals and 7 assists, numbers that came with consistent availability. Fast forward to February and Liverpool are sitting 6th. They just lost a late lead to Manchester City at Anfield on February 8th, a game that exposed what happens when your front line can't kill the big moments. Here's the counterpoint. Diaz had reportedly pushed for a move for some time, and Liverpool cashed a major fee for a player entering peak value. That's not automatically a mistake, but the gamble was assuming Wirtz, Gakpo and the other new pieces would gel fast enough to defend a title. Right now, Gakpo has 5 goals and 3 assists in 24 league appearances. Solid, but not the same profile. Diaz was a reliable big game outlet. Replacing his minutes is easy, replacing his timing is harder. Number 6. Arsenal loaning Nwaneri to Marseille. Arsenal sent Nwaneri to Marseille in late January. On paper, it made complete sense. The teenager needed regular minutes, and Roberto De Zerbi has a reputation for developing technical attackers. Marseille reportedly agreed to pay a loan fee north of £2.5 million, depending on appearances. Here's the problem: Marseille isn't a finishing school, it's a pressure cooker. And Arsenal's entire gamble was tied to one variable they couldn't control: the manager. On February 11th, following a 5-0 loss to PSG and a Champions League exit, De Zerbi left by mutual consent. So overnight, Arsenal's carefully constructed development environment changed completely. New staff, new demands, new system, and a young player caught in the middle of someone else's crisis. Arsenal didn't just loan out a prospect, they outsourced a crucial part of his development to circumstances they can't script. If you're making these decisions at elite level, you need to ask harder questions. What happens if the manager goes? What happens if the club spirals? Which brings us to the next point. Number 5. No recall clause. Even if you still believe the Marseille loan was smart, there's one contract detail that looks brutal now. Reports indicate there's no recall option in the deal. Arsenal cannot bring Nwaneri back mid-season. That matters because Arsenal's depth has been squeezed at exactly the wrong moment. Mikel Merino has a bone injury, he's out for months. Martin Odegaard has been sidelined with another niggle. Kai Havertz has been battling a knee injury since August and only recently resumed training. When Arsenal dropped points at Brentford on February 12th, it wasn't just about one header conceded, it was about looking like a team operating with a thinner margin than a title favourite can afford. And here's what makes it sting: Nwaneri is exactly the type of player you throw on to change a tight game. Fresh legs, fearless dribbling, quick combinations. Instead, Arsenal are forced to shuffle and patch, while the player they could use is locked into someone else's chaos. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, hit subscribe right now and give this video a like. Arsenal gambled they wouldn't need the exit. February has shown them otherwise. Number 4. Tottenham's managerial chaos. Tottenham dismissed Ange Postecoglou despite him winning the Europa League, the club's first trophy in 17 years. The reason? A 17th place league finish that ownership couldn't stomach. On June 12th, Thomas Frank was appointed on a 3-year contract. The message was clear: Spurs wanted pragmatism, control, a calmer identity. Fast forward to February 11th and Frank was sacked. ESPN reported Spurs were 16th at the time, having just lost at home to Newcastle. 8 months, that's all it lasted. 2 days later, Tottenham appointed Igor Tudor as interim manager until the end of the season, with significant injuries in the squad and genuine relegation pressure building. Here's the gamble Spurs got wrong. You cannot keep rebooting culture and expect players to execute it like a software update. Postecoglou's Europa League win was proof of concept. It showed the group could believe again. When you remove that coach immediately after, you're telling players to forget the success and to just buy into the next vision, and the next, and the next. Number 3. Liverpool missing Guehi. Liverpool waited and waited until transfer deadline day before going for Guehi. Get Florian Wirtz first, get Ekitike, follow Isak for weeks, all before coming in for the defender who's been waiting for them for 3 months. But the move collapsed. Palace couldn't line up a replacement in time. Then Manchester City swooped in January. The fee? An initial £20 million with add-ons on a 5.5-year contract. Guehi was in the final 18 months of his Palace deal and wasn't going to extend. The twist is pure football karma. City's new signing was jeered at Anfield, and then City came from behind to win there anyway. This is what gambles don't pay off looks like at the very top. It's not just that you missed a player, it's that a direct rival gets him cheaper mid-season and uses him against you in a crucial match. Centre-backs aren't luxury signings, they're system foundations. Liverpool took the risk that their existing depth would hold through a title and European calendar. When you miss a top target late, you typically pay later, either in fee or in opportunity. In this case, the opportunity went straight to a rival. Number 2. PSG replacing Donnarumma with Chevalier. PSG's gamble was the classic refreshing the position move. Younger keeper, new cycle. Now, let's be clear about the domestic picture. PSG are not struggling in League One. The gamble is about European control and big moment goalkeeping continuity. PSG moved off a proven elite keeper and into an unsettled hierarchy. They've had to lean on Safonov in major league moments, which suggests the pecking order isn't fully resolved. In Europe, they've had wobble moments, including a Champions League defeat at Sporting that put their campaign in jeopardy. PSG don't get judged on being pretty good domestically. Their benchmark is Champions League nights where one goalkeeper decision can end a season. Even if Chevalier becomes elite long-term, the short-term cost is turbulence, not the stability you want when chasing European glory. Number 1. Chelsea's youth obsession. Chelsea's summer window was a mission statement. They signed Jamie Gittens from Borussia Dortmund on a 7-year deal. 3 days later, Liam Delap arrived from Ipswich on a 6-year contract. On August 1st, Jorel Hato joined from Ajax, another 7-year deal. The oldest core signing was 23. The result of this is damning. Chelsea have dropped 17 points from winning positions this season. That's a game management problem, exactly the kind of problem experienced signings help solve. Young squads can win any individual match, but closing games out requires hardened voices who know how to slow tempo, draw fouls, and manage momentum when the pressure spikes in April. These gambles aren't permanent disasters, but they show how thin the margins are. One sale too early, one clause missed, one manager change. February is the audit, and some receipts look brutal. Which gamble hurts most by May? Drop it in the comments, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.